Today I'm going to be doing a CD collection video, and as you guys probably saw a while ago, I did cassette tapes and vinyl records, but never did CDs. Finally got all my CDs together, so I'm going to be doing that right now. No particular order here. There's a few bands that are together, but everything else is really random, so I'll try to go through it as quick as I can, just say maybe a few words about each album, or I'll just list what the album name is and move. But Sanctify the Darkness by Suicidal Angels is going to be the first album I got here. Thrash metal band. Decent stuff. Still Not Black Enough by Wasp. Great band, but that is not their best output. A couple of good songs on there still, though. Damnation and a Day by Cradle of Filth. Pretty good album by a great band. And Still Climbing by Cinderella. Their final album came out in '94. Pretty good stuff. Dio, Holy Diver. Great album. Last in Line by Dio. Their second album came out in '85. Holy Diver is a lot better. Hatebreeder by Children of Bodom. They are a pretty solid band. Unique band. Diabolus in Musica by Slayer. Now this album is not nearly as bad as people act like it is. Some pretty solid stuff on there. Symbol of Salvation by Armored Saint. This is a really good album. Came out in 1991. John Bush on vocals is really good. Under Lock and Key by Dokken. This is my favorite release by them. Came out in '85. Great album. Sabotage by Black Sabbath. Came out in '75, and it has my favorite Ozzy Sabbath song on it, Symptom of the Universe, but probably wouldn't say it's my favorite Ozzy Sabbath album. And all these CDs, for the most part, like 95% of them, I've bought in stores, so like CD Warehouse, Second and Charles, Best Buy, Walmart, like over the years. Only a couple of them I've ordered online. Just noting that there. And right here I have Brujeria, Raza Odiada. Now this is a Mexican heavy metal band. All of the lyrics are in Spanish, so can't really understand it, but there's a lot of good riffs on that album, honestly. Some pretty good music. And here I have Deicide's first album. Not a huge fan of these guys, but there's a few decent songs on there. Los Exorcista by White Zombie, or Sexorcisto by White Zombie. Pretty solid album. Rob Zombie's first band, obviously. Brave New World by Iron Maiden. Don't love this album, but still a couple of good songs on it. Plagues of Babylon by Iced Earth came out in 2014. Pretty solid album by a great band. Remains by Annihilator came out in 1997. This is one of the few albums that I did actually order online. Kind of random, but yep. Roots by Sepultura. This album, not that good, honestly, but I have it. Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. It's like a remastered version here. Really good album. Jakey Lee is a beast. Pyromania by Def Leppard. This is my favorite album by them. We got here Bitter Sweets to Succubi by Cradle of Filth. This is an EP, I think, from like 2001. Some pretty good stuff on here. Great band, Cradle of Filth is. Unholy Terror by Wasp, another great band. This is a really solid album. Excuse me. Darkly Venus of Versailles. That's how you say this. Cradle of Filth again. They gotta be difficult with the album names. Another solid album by Cradle of Filth. Schizophrenia by Sepultura. Good album from 1987. Master of Shit, I'm just kidding, Master of Puppets by Metallica. Solid album, but it is overrated if you ask me. Still have it on CD though. Probably bought it when I was like 13. Everybody gets it. It's whatever. War of Words by Fight. That is the band Rob Halford formed after Judas Priest, like after he left Judas Priest in about like 92, 93. This came out in 93, and it actually has Satchel, the guy from Steel Panther, playing guitar on here. His real name is, can't remember his freaking name. Whatever. Y'all know Satchel from Steel Panther. Toys in the Attic, Aerosmith, 1970s, hard rock, good band. LA Guns, Cocked and Loaded, their second album, a lot of great stuff on there. Nosferatu by Bloodbound. This is like a power metal band, sounds like a mix of like Iron Maiden and Halloween. They're like European, and that's a really good album. I would definitely recommend checking that out. Trilogy by Yngwie Malmsteen, 1986, a solid album. Crucible by Halford, second release of the Halford band. Some pretty good stuff on there. Just getting my bag of CDs up here. This is going to be a really long video, so... Dokken, what up? Back for the Attack. A lot of great stuff on here. This is their fourth album overall. Came out in 1987. Kiss of Death is a great song. Amazing George Lynch solo on that one. Crypto Rihanna, The Seductiveness of Decay by Cradle of Filth. Once again, super long album name. They gotta be difficult here. I think that came out in either 2015 or 2017. Don't know if that's their most recent one, but this is a good album. One of the best albums of all time. Peace sells, but who's buying? Best album from 1986 for sure. Fever by Bullet for My Valentine. Yes, I like a few of their albums. They were pretty good on the Scream Aim Fire album and that one, Fever. Not much else besides those two, though. The Glorious Burden by Iced Earth. This has Tim Ripper Owens on it. Probably most famous from being in Judas Priest. He's a great singer. Been with Iced Earth, Yngwie Malmsteen, Judas Priest, so definitely recommend checking that album out. I mean, most of Iced Earth's albums are really good anyways. Live at Hammersmith, 79 by the man, Ted Nugent. Very good album. Charlie Hune was doing lead vocals at this point for him. Good album there. Long Live Rock and Roll by Rainbow. Great album. And The Sound of Perseverance by Death, their final album. One of their best, I would say. Oh, sorry about that. It's a great album. Inferno by Marty Friedman. Try to pick this up. Damn Yankees, self-titled, which I have signed by Jack Blades. It's pretty cool. He's a really cool guy. When I saw Night Ranger, he signed it for me. Decade of Aggression Live. Slayer album from like 91. Good stuff. Damn Yankees, Don't Tread. As you can probably tell, I am kind of a fan of this Ted Nugent guy. He's a pretty good guitarist. Forever Free by Saxon. Came out in 92. That's a good album. Angel Down by Sebastian Bach, one of his solo albums. Some pretty good stuff on here, and there's a couple songs that feature Axl Rose. Surprised they didn't make a side band together called the Asshole Brothers or something. Sorry about that, but yeah, they're both assholes, but really good singers. So, Times of Pride and Peril by Holy Grail. This is one of the better like new bands, or like newish bands. They've been around for a little over 10 years now, I think. They have 3 albums, all really good. Highly recommend checking them out. Sacrament by Lamb of God. Good album. Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer. My favorite of theirs. Here I have a 3-in-1 Ted Nugent Classics triple feature thing. Free For All, Scream Dream, and Weekend Warriors. 76 was Free For All. 78 Weekend Warriors and Scream Dream came out in 1980. All very good albums. Would definitely recommend listening to them. If you're one of those people that are only familiar with like Stranglehold and Cat Scratch Fever, a lot of really good stuff on these 3 albums. Poets and Madmen by Savatage. I think this was their final album. This is a pretty good album. This was their last one. Came out in 2001. That's got some solid stuff on it. And Nightmare World here by Eidolon. This was the band that Sean and Glenn Drover were in starting like in the mid-90s. They went on to be in Megadeth, as you guys probably know. That's a really good album. Would definitely recommend checking those guys out. They have like 6 albums. Screwed, Blued, and Tattooed by Sleazebees. Some pretty good glam type metal here. Rockin' the Western World is a great song. And Justice for All by Metallica. Resurrection by Halford, the debut of this band. South of Heaven by Slayer, came out in 88. Very good album. Oh god. We got Korn's self-titled album. Had this one for a while. Got it when I was younger. Honestly, Korn has some pretty good riffs. Let's not lie here, but the vocals, pretty questionable. Jugulator by Judas Priest. This was the first album with Tim Ripper Owens on it. Very good album. Definitely, I'd say, is one of their better ones as well. Probably like top 8 at least, which is in the like top half of their albums. The Power Within by Dragon Force. Really good power metal band. Pretty new-ish band. They've been around for like 20 years now, but Volume 4 by Black Sabbath came out in 1972. I might get around to doing a Black Sabbath albums ranked from worst to best eventually, but this one would not be very high. That's all I'll say. It's not bad though, just don't love it. Dream Evil by Dio came out in 87, first album with Craig Goldie on guitar. Detonator by Rat, their last of the like classic era, came out in 1990. Some pretty solid stuff on there. This one I have not even opened yet. It's The Rise of Chaos. I bought this a while ago, maybe like to do a album review on, and I never opened it. I did listen to it on like Spotify. The Rise of Chaos. It's nothing spectacular. Some pretty good stuff on there though. Black Earth by Arch Enemy. Honestly, not super familiar with this band, but I think this is their debut album. Listened to it like once. Don't remember it being that good. Handful of Rain by Sabotage. Came out in like 94, I think. This was the first one without Chris Oliva, who he unfortunately passed away. If You Can't Lick 'Em by Ted Nugent. This came out in 1988. And there is actually some pretty good songs on here. Let's see. Fun Lover is really good. Has a lot of good guitar work. Just some pretty good songs on there. Not his best by any means, but not bad either. We've Come For You All by Anthrax. This was the last album with John Bush on vocals, the guy from Armored Saint, who I mentioned earlier. Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Their second album came out in 1970. Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent. One of his most popular albums, I'm sure everybody knows. It is very good. The Dark Saga by Iced Earth. 1996. Very good album. Dog Eat Dog by Warrant. Came out in 92. Some pretty solid stuff on there. Don't Say No by Billy Squier. This is a good album. Billy is a good guitar player and singer, good artist overall. What do we got here? Frozen in Time by Obituary. Has maybe their most popular song, Redneck Stomp. Nymphetamine by Cradle of Filth. Really gonna try to speed this up here. March or Die by Motorhead. This like really shitty Metal Blade Records like compilation album. I have no idea why I bought this. Probably because I didn't recognize like any of these bands, and I was hoping that some of them might have been good. But the only names, I mean, there is a couple that I do actually recognize, like 6 Feet Under. They suck. The Black Dahlia Murder. Don't think they're that good either. Cattle Decapitation, Thrash. Cannibal Corpse is on here. Not a big fan of theirs either. I'll go through these really quick. Here's Megadeth, Greatest Hits, Back to the Start. Megadeth, Capital Punishment. Dystopia by Megadeth, 2016. Euthanasia by Megadeth. I've got all my Megadeth albums together, actually. 1 second, put these back. Get them out of here. Oh. Alright, this Metal Hammer collection thing, which I don't think that's an official release. Hidden Treasures. System Has Failed. Came out in 2004. The World Needs a Hero from 2001. Countdown to Extinction, 1992. "13" came out in 2013. Rust in Peace live album from 2010 where they played Rust in Peace in full. That One Night live in Buenos Aires live album from, it came out in 2007, but it was recorded in 2005. Super Collider, not as bad as people act like it is, and I have Risk right here, which is another one. It's not completely terrible. There's some pretty good stuff on there, honestly. Well, Prince of Darkness is a good song. Last handful of Megadeth stuff here. Got End Game, 2009. That's a fantastic album. Cryptic Writings from 97. Risk Again, the other album cover here. This is from 99. Anthology, Set the World Afire. This came out in 2008. Compilation album. Still Alive and Well. This is United Abominations, which is signed by the Drover Brothers. Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. So Far So Good So What. And Rust in Peace, my favorite album of all time. Jeez Louise. This was not very organized from the start, but I'm just going to keep it going. I have a ton more. Hope you guys are ready. Killers, Iron Maiden. Let me go through these fast. Iron Maiden self-titled debut. This is a Sodom album. In War and Pieces came out in like 2010 or 11. Just thrash metal there. Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. What is this? Yeah, Diary of a Madman. My bad. Diary of a Madman. This is probably his best album. Came out in 1981. Sato is a really good song. Over the Mountain. You know, all that stuff. Randy Rhoads, his last album, unfortunately. Valley of the Damned by Dragon Force, their debut. Solid album. Operation Mindcrime. Very good album by Queensryche. And Pride by White Lion. Good album. Here I have Hold Your Fire by Firehouse. Solid, like hard rock, glam metal, whatever you want to call it. Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden. Somewhere in Time by Iron Maiden, my favorite of theirs. Dance of Death by Iron Maiden. Pretty solid album. This is another one's unopened. It's Operation Mindcrime, The New Reality, which this is Jeff Tate's like more recent band here. There's a couple albums by them. Haven't even listened to that, honestly. It's Eternity by Camelot. This band, I only like the first 2 albums. They got Mark Vanderbilt on vocals on the first 2. Much better than anything else they ever did afterwards, I would say. Screaming for Vengeance by Judas Priest. Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Unfortunately, I have this for some reason. I think I bought it to do like a... I don't even know. I was going to do like a stupid video where I smashed it or something, and then I just didn't do that. That's kind of dumb. But Priest Live. Live album by Judas Priest. Ram It Down by Judas Priest. Stay in Class by Judas Priest. Probably my favorite album of theirs from the 70s. And Living After Midnight, the best of Judas Priest. Here is another Megadeth album that was out of place. Countdown to Extinction Live. Played Countdown to Extinction in full. And then I just have this like classics, like little box set thing. It's got Defenders of the Faith, Painkiller, Screaming for Vengeance, British Steel, and Unleashed in the East in here. Redeemer of Souls. Really good album. I personally like it better than Firepower. Quiet Riot, Road Rage. This is pretty much trash. Ted Nugent, Great Gonzos. Compilation album. A lot of great songs on there. Another like compilation album of Ted Nugent, just 70s Ted Nugent. And Reinventing the Steel by Pantera. Almost halfway there, guys. Wasp, self-titled. Great album. Golgotha by Wasp. Not a bad album. Another album by Holy Grail, Crisis in Utopia. Very solid debut album of theirs. Pantera, Preliminary Groove Metal, which I don't like that term, groove metal. Just stupid to me. I just call it heavy metal. You see, there's a picture of them towards the back end of their glam days with Phil Anselmo there. Weren't really glam with him, just had the teased hair still. And Official Live, 101 Proof. Good live album by Pantera. And I Can't Hide is a really good song. It's a recording, like they did it in the studio recording. Alive in Athens. This is an amazing live album by Iced Earth. Them by King Diamond. Abigail by King Diamond. The Eye by King Diamond. 3 great albums. Jeez. Good lord. Mike Vescara is not going to be happy about this. Just dropped Methods of Madness by Obsession. Mike Vescara did sing for this band before he was in Loudness, and he went on to be in Yngwie Malmsteen's band in the 90s for a while. Quattro by Flotsam and Jetsam, a really good thrash metal band. Angel of Retribution by Judas Priest. Their Return with Rob Halford from 2005. Death Magnetic by Metallica, which this is actually a pretty good album. Way better than Hardwired. The Great Southern Trendkill by Pantera. Far Beyond Driven by Pantera. Vulgar Display of Power by Pantera. And the best Pantera album, Cowboys from Hell. One of the best albums of all time. Hold on. Picking up this other box here. I think we're getting kind of close, guys. We got This Godless Endeavor by Nevermore. Probably only listened to this like once. But they, from what I can remember, they're a pretty good band. Testament, Practice What You Preach. Good album. Halloween Live in Moscow, 2003. Halloween, The Time of the Oath. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 by Halloween. And Fire and Ice by Yngwie and Malmsteen. Odyssey by Yngwie and Malmsteen. Open Up and Say Ah by Poison. Iomi, self-titled album. The Walls of Jericho by Halloween, their first album, very good stuff. Seven Sinners by Halloween, that's actually a really good album. Rising Force, Yngwie Malmsteen, his first album, or his debut solo album. Divine Intervention by Slayer. Diver Down by Van Halen. There's a couple of really good songs on there. The Full Bug is a really underrated song. Live Creation by Creator. Elf, self-titled album. This band had Ronnie James Dio in it. See him up there. Kicks, Blow My Fuse. Solid album. Danger Danger, self-titled album. Couple of decent songs on there. Cinderella, Long Cold Winter, very good album. Hell Dorado by Wasp, some solid stuff on there. And this album is called War to End All Wars by Yngwie Malmsteen. See the man there, probably the greatest guitarist of all time. Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. Poison, Look What the Cat Dragged In. Look at these freaking guys. Buddy. Subhuman Race by Skid Row. For some reason, Eddie Trunk's dumbass thinks this is their best album. Not even close. Okay. Easily third. Okay. Temper Temper by Bullet for My Valentine. I bought it, not really knowing much about it. Few decent songs on there, but not nearly as good as a couple of their other albums. Killing Season by Death Angel. Probably going to be seeing these guys in a couple, or not in a couple months, like a couple weeks. They're a really good thrash metal band. The Art of Dying by Death Angel. Also, I saw them open up for Slayer a couple years ago, and they freaking were amazing. Chinese Democracy by Guns N' Roses. So this album is actually pretty good. Surprisingly good. There's several really good songs on there. Use Your Illusion 2, Guns N' Roses. Dokken Greatest Hits album. Conspiracy by King Diamond from 1989. Greatest Hits Anthrax album. A Dio Greatest Hits album. Horror Show by Iced Earth. Very good album. Great band. For All Kings by Anthrax. That's their most recent album. Among the Living by Anthrax, and Spreading the Disease by Anthrax. These are both great albums. Straight Out of Hell by Helloween. Kiss, Animalize. This is one of my favorites by them. Unpopular Opinion. Came out in 1984. Inhuman Rampage by Dragon Force. This album has Through the Fire and Flames on it. They're a big hit. Relentless by Yngwie and Malmsteen. As you can see, all this stuff's just really random order. Fatal Portrait, another King Diamond album right here. Here's one that I randomly bought because I didn't know this band. It's Mystic Prophecy. So sometimes I would just like buy CDs if they had a cool album cover and like I wasn't familiar with the band. If I thought it was probably going to be metal. Killhammer. This is like power metal if I remember correctly. Wasn't really any good. Never listened to it more than once, I don't think. Rain and Blood by Slayer. A Real Live One by Iron Maiden. A live album. Exhibit B, The Human Condition by Exodus. That's a really good album. Ride the Lightning by Metallica. Good album. And Kill 'Em All, another good album by Metallica. Good lord. Over 30 minutes with me if you stayed around this long. Slip of the Tongue by Whitesnake. This is a very disappointing album for how good of a band lineup he put together on this one. Like, it should have been amazing, but yeah, kind of underwhelming for the band lineup they had. Something Wicked, This Way Comes by Iced Earth. Great album from them. Live in Leningrad by Yngwie Malmsteen. Night Songs by Cinderella. The Grinding Wheel by Overkill. I guess this just like fell out of that little box set. This is Painkiller by Judas Priest, one of my favorite albums of all time. Firepower by Judas Priest. The Music Made Me Do It, Ted Nugent's most recent album. Some pretty good stuff on there. Incorruptible by Iced Earth. Brotherhood of the Snake, Testament. This is just self-titled. Yeah, Obituary. Yeah. This was a pretty good album. It's like their most recent or second most recent album. Healed by Metal by Gravedigger. They have a lot of really good albums in their catalog. Dangerous Toys, self-titled debut album, really good album. And Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 by Helloween. So I have one more crate. I'll try to get through it quick, because I'm not done with the rest of this stuff. If I can pick these up. What do we got here? A Small Deadly Space by Fight, the second album of this band. Skid Row, self-titled debut album. That's a great album. Two albums in one here. We got Crave Man and Full Bluntal Nudity by Ted Nugent. A live album and a album of his from 2002, I believe. Spirit of the Wild, Ted Nugent, 1995. It's a good album, and this reminds me, I have down here, this is the Full Bluntal Nudity DVD. Yes, sir. Old Uncle Ted. This is Slaughter's first album, Stick It To Ya. Good stuff there. This is a Steel Panther album, Lower the Bar. Pretty much trash. Oh goodness. Black Album. Honestly, other than like 4 songs that have become annoying to me, there's some pretty good stuff on here. And a Rat Greatest Hits album. Dokken, Erase the Slate. That is their only album with Reb Beach on guitar. Rabbit Don't Come Easy by Halloween. Dio, Lock Up the Wolves. Winger. Self-titled album. Rush, Fly By Night. Fastway. This is Fast Eddie Clarke's debut album with his band Fastway after he left Motorhead. Whitesnake Greatest Hits album. Rob Zombie Greatest Hits album. Some Heavy Metal Icons CD. I don't know why the heck I got this. I mean, there's some decent stuff on here actually, but I kind of bought this just because it was funny. I think because they have a Buck Cherry song, Monster Magnet. Yeah, that stuff's trash. But there's like Slaughter, Yngwie Malmsteen, Lita Ford, Y&T, Vixen, Crocus, TNT, Manowar, Poison, Jackal, Queensryche, Diamond Head, Cinderella, Kiss, Great White, White Zombie, Anthrax, all on here. Sturm, Undrance. What the fuck? Lamb of God album, if I even said that right. Barely remember this album, but Chris Adler is a beast on the drums. Jackal, debut album. Good band from my neck of the woods. Some weird Uriah Heep DVD, CD that my uncle gave me. I saw them open for Judas Priest not too long ago. Alice Cooper Greatest Hits. Mystic Prophecy again. I don't know if... Did I say this band already once? Satanic Curses. Might have to re-listen to this because I can't remember what they sound like at all. Sepultura Chaos AD. Sepultura Arise. And Morbid Visions, their first album. Some good stuff mixed in there on those albums. 13 by Black Sabbath. One of their worst albums. Slave to the Grind, Skid Row's second album. Facelift by Alice in Chains. Under Attack by Destruction. And Too Fast for Love by Motley Crue. Push Comes to Shove, Jackal. Trying to finish this real quick. Long Way Home by Dokken. Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. Love Gun by Kiss. Metal Heart by Accept. Christ Illusion by Slayer. 2006 there. Queensryche Greatest Hits album. I swear you guys, we're almost done here. Greatest Hits of Iron Maiden, Somewhere Back in Time. 80 to 89. Death Angel, Act 3. Very good album. Hourglass 1 by Lamb of God. Yeah, this is a Greatest Hits album or compilation of some sort. All You Can Eat by Steel Panther. Burn the Priest, which was Lamb of God before they changed their name to Lamb of God. 1916 by Motorhead. Deep Purple, Greatest Hits. I have two Avenged Sevenfold albums right here. So, what do we got here? City of Evil, Nightmare. Some not so bad stuff on there. Really highly doubt I would ever listen to them at this point, but... And I have another, Korn album here, Greatest Hits. Like I said, some good riffs from them, but don't listen to them much, if at all. The Sinister Urge by Rob Zombie. Hellbilly Deluxe by Rob Zombie. Boston debut album. Memoirs of a Madman by Ozzy. Just another compilation by him. I've got 1984 and Van Halen 2. About like 10 more or 15 more I've got down here. And that'll be it. Fair Warning by Van Halen. No More Tears, Ozzy Osbourne. Gamma Ray album. To the Metal. Kai Hansen's band. After he left Halloween, he formed this band. Some good stuff mixed in throughout their catalog. Metal Health by Quiet Riot. No Rest for the Wicked by Ozzy. I've got the first 4 Tesla albums here. Mechanical Resonance, The Great Radio Controversy. This one is called Psychotic Supper. Some good stuff. Edison's Medicine on there, and Bust a Nut. Clever. The Dio Years, Greatest Hits by Black Sabbath. Yep. And the last handful. Let's see what we got here. Van Halen, Women and Children First. Classics by Triumph. It's a great band. Black Sabbath Greatest Hits 1970 to 78. Which a lot of people only like to give this era of the band the listening, which is pretty unfortunate. Carnival Diablos by Annihilator. This is a really good album from 2001 by them. People like to talk trash about their stuff post Never Neverland, but that's a really good album and a lot of good stuff mixed in that they have released after Never Neverland, so definitely recommend going to that. Bullet Boys self-titled debut album. In the Heart of the Young by Winger. Red Beach is a great guitarist. Love Grenade by Ted Nugent, his 2007 album. Some good stuff on there. Shadows Fall of One Blood. Honestly, can barely remember this at all. No World Order by Gamma Ray. And the final album is going to be Executioner's Return by Obituary. Good God, that was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But, yeah, so those were my CDs. And as I said, I buy all of these pretty much, except for very few, from stores around my area. So unfortunately, I don't have any like black metal or anything, unless you want to consider Cradle of Filth black metal. And there's nothing like super obscure for the most part. There's a few kinda, but yeah, I feel like it's a pretty decent collection. Still buy them whenever I see, but most of the time when I go to the CD stores now, like the collection is just complete trash for the most part. But I guess I'll probably have to start buying them online before long if I want anything good. But yeah, thanks for watching this if you stuck around all that time, and yeah, see you next time.